Hello. Now, as some of you probably already know, on the 19th of September, it is Aortic Dissection Awareness Day. Now, I want to do some awareness raising for it, so I'm making this video. I'm going to be reading one of my poems. The poem is about my dad. He died before my first birthday, I think, when I was around about 1 year old. And he had Marfan syndrome like me, and that caused issues with his heart and his aorta. And he went in for surgery, and the surgery seemed to go all right at the time. Then when he come out of hospital, he had a lot of stress and he caught pneumonia, or he caught a cold, which then turned to pneumonia because his immune system was still weak after the heart surgery. And then he ended up having a dissection. So I wanted to read this poem to raise awareness for aortic dissection, and also raise awareness for Marfan syndrome, and raise awareness for all those who have been lost due to things like aortic dissection. So I'm just going to go ahead and read my poem. The poem is called Letter to My Daddy, and basically it's done in the way of, if you could speak to someone who has passed on, what would you say to them? What would you talk to them about? And it's kind of done in that sort of style. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and read it. I didn't know you for long before you were gone. I was less than one, so no memory imprinting was done. You were in your 20s, just had your heart fixed. But there were complications. A sudden aortic dissection left your family in devastation. Both cursed with this connective tissue disorder, both faced the same issues in ascending order. I used to pray that history would not repeat, studying every symptom, treatment, medication and procedure. Grey's Anatomy became my Bible. My main goal is survival. I was in my 20s when I had my heart fixed. There were no complications, no aortic dissections. I guess you were an angel giving me protection. Now I'm 30, with my whole life ahead of me. I hope you would be proud of me. I use this gift of life to help others with their struggle and strife. Mummy often shared her memories of you. They serve as fuel for my fundraising passion. I hope that other children wouldn't lose their daddy in the same fashion. Betrayed by the very same DNA connection. We have never spoken, but I feel our bond is unbroken. It seems even death can't break this daddy-daughter connection. And that's my poem. So yeah, Aortic Dissection Awareness Day is on the 19th of September. For those who don't know what aortic dissection is, basically, if you think of your aorta as a tube, and it has an outer lining and an inner lining, and the dissection is where the outer lining and inner lining separate, and this is usually caused by a hole through the inner lining, so blood starts to pour through that hole and creates a pocket in between the inner and outer lining. Now usually that is an aneurysm, but if the pocket gets bigger and bigger, it will dissect the whole aorta. So dissection, usually they happen towards the aortic arch, up the top of the heart, the aortic arch, the thoracic aorta, and ascending aorta, I believe. But your aorta basically stretches from the top of your heart, and it goes round, and then it goes down through your whole body, and then branches come off of it into your arms, your legs, your kidneys, liver, all that sort of thing. So if your aorta dissects fully, it can create all sorts of complications, and it's usually very fatal. If you don't get the correct treatment fast, you will perish. And with connective tissue disorders like Marfan syndrome, dissections are usually quite, they happen quite a lot with Marfan patients. Myself, my heart surgery, I had an aneurysm, and that was about to split more, and that would have caused a dissection, which wouldn't have been good. I was leaking a lot of blood from my aorta, and to be honest, I didn't have any symptoms. Not really, not any. No pain. I had no chest pains. I felt fatigue sometimes, but that's a normal thing with Marfan syndrome anyway. With the hypermobility that comes with it and stuff, I always get fatigued anyway. So that was normal for me, being fatigued. I didn't get any dizziness, no nausea, no faintness, nothing. I didn't know I had it, and apparently I had this aneurysm sitting there for a while, for a few years, and it was slowly getting worse and worse, and it got to the point where a week, if I'd left it a week, that was it. I wouldn't be here now. And I was lucky to, I went to a routine appointment at the hospital to get my heart checked up, and, they did all the tests, and the people, the nurses doing the tests on me, like the ECGs and, the echocardiograms and all this sort of stuff, kind of looked at the scans, looked at these bits of paper and whatnot, and went, we've got to go and talk to our boss, we've got to go and talk to the doctor a minute. And they looked very worried. And I thought, hang on, this doesn't usually happen. What's going on, And they kind of rushed out of the room with this bit of paper. And me and my fiance sat there sort of like, my fiance's like, they didn't look too happy. They looked a bit worried. I was like, yeah, they did really. I goes, but, my heart is a bit weird, and it usually, if they're trainees, they might not know about Marfan syndrome, so they might have seen my weird heart and weird aorta and just thought, oh my God, and panicked for no reason. But that wasn't the case. They found that I had the aneurysm, which was literally about to split, and because of the aneurysm, my aortic valve had stretched and was leaking blood out as well, and the valve wasn't working correctly. So, and they, at the time, they didn't want to tell me because they didn't want to worry me or stress me out, because any worry or any stress could have just pushed me over the edge. Because with an aortic dissection or an aneurysm, hypertension, high blood pressure is very bad. So that's why I'm on blood pressure medication, to keep my blood pressure as low as humanly possible, so that my aorta doesn't end up with any more damage. So yeah, so they didn't want to say anything. They were just like, you know, and when they come back after a few minutes, they come back with a doctor, and the doctor said, you know, you've got a little bit of a problem with your heart, but don't worry, with your aorta. Don't worry about it though. You've had this problem, you know, since you were younger. So, and I was like, yeah, I know. And I was like, as the dilation got worse, which a dilation is stretching of the aorta. So if you think of a balloon, when you blow air in the balloon, it blows up. When you let the air out, the balloon deflates and goes back to its normal size. Now, if you replace the balloon with the aorta, now in a normal person, when the blood goes through, the aorta stretches to allow the blood to flow freely through. Then once the blood stops flowing, the aorta goes back to its normal size. Now, in someone with a connective tissue disorder like Marfan syndrome, the blood goes through, the aorta stretches, but it won't go back to its normal size. It will stay a little bit stretched. So over years, the aorta gradually gets bigger. And obviously where it's stretching, the walls of the aorta are getting thinner and thinner. And then tears will happen eventually. So I've always had a dilation there, and that was controlled with blood pressure meds. And I always knew that I'd probably have to have some sort of heart surgery when I was older to mend the dilation if it got too bad. But I wasn't expecting the aneurysm or problems with my valves. So that was kind of a little bit shocking, but at the time I was like, oh, it'd be fine, you know. And the doctor that came in with the two nurses said to me, in the next few days you're going to have to come back in. We're going to sort you out with a bed. We're going to need to talk to you about doing surgery, and we will talk to you about that when you come in the next few days. We're going to admit you. So I was like, oh, okay, right, fine. And he said, also, you smoke. I see from your notes you smoke. I was like, yeah, I do. And he goes, you're going to have to give that up, because if you don't, you know, I won't be able to do the surgery. The surgery won't take properly. So I was like, right, fine. Gave up cigarettes straight away. And I was lucky I didn't get any cravings or anything. So I think it was mainly just probably because of it's cigarettes or death. Cigarettes and death or life, you know. So it's like, I'll give up the cigarettes and choose life, to be honest. But yeah, so I kind of came home, and I don't think it all sunk in properly, but I was just like, my partner, John, he was freaking out. But I was like, oh, it'd be fine, you know. They're always wanting to poke and prod me. They always want to use me as a guinea pig at the hospital, you know. Because Marfan syndrome is a rare condition. So most of the time when I come across doctors and stuff, they want to poke and prod and, you know, have a good old look. So I'm used to being poked around by doctors. But when I got to the hospital, they were sort of like, right, yeah, get into bed, sort you out. And they were doing all these tests, sending me away for x-rays, fucking, there's CT scans and all sorts. I had every test known to mankind done on me and on my heart. And, you know, they kind of got round to doing the surgery, and the doctor came round before the surgery to explain what was going on. You know, the surgeon and the surgeon's people, they come round to speak to me. And they said, now today, we don't do surgery on a Wednesday. a Wednesday is a teaching day. We usually reserve the theatre on a Wednesday for teaching the med students how to do surgeries. He goes, now today I am teaching at this hospital. And it was Dr. Sang, who did my surgery, and he was like, so yeah, we're going to use you as a guinea pig. We're going to use you to teach our students how to do this new surgery we have planned for you. Are you happy with that? I was like, yeah, sure, why not? You know, because what they learn from me doing my heart surgery, they're going to take on forward to help other people like me that have issues with their hearts. So it's going to save lives, you know, so I couldn't really say no. And I was happy to do it. So I was like, yeah, sure. The surgery took like 12 hours. And the new procedure they done was called the David's procedure. And that's where they obviously cut away some of my aorta to resize it and make it a normal size again. They repaired the holes and whatnot. They repaired the valve with a procedure called valve sparing. Then what they did was they got this material called Gore-Tex, which you might notice most raincoats are made out of Gore-Tex. Things like army uniforms, you know, they use it in trainers, sports clothes, all sorts. It's a very durable, strong material. And they got that material and kind of wrapped it around my aorta to strengthen it and to stop any more damage and stop any more stretching. So my heart, my aorta now is more Gore-Tex than flesh. You know, it's more Gore-Tex than aorta. So it was a really good procedure, really interesting. And I knew about the procedure beforehand because I always study these heart procedures and stuff like that, because I know I'm likely to have heart surgery in the future. I was like, I want to be in the know. You know, I want to know about every procedure. I want to know about success rates, you know, all sorts like that. And I'd heard of the David's procedure before and I'd studied it, and it had a very good success rate. And I was one of the first people in the UK to have it done. So, yeah, it was really cool. But then after the surgery, I come out of surgery after 12 hours. They were working on me. Then they kept me under anaesthetic for a day or two, just in case anything went wrong. So, like, if I sprung a leak again or something, they could just rush me straight back in, plug the leak, sort it out, all done, there we go. But they had me on something like a day or two around the clock watch to make sure that it all went well, and it went swimmingly, to be honest. It went really well. I didn't spring any leaks, you know, it was all good. Then they kind of brought me round and I was in ICU for a few days recovering. Then they took me back up to the ward so I could finish recovering there. And after a few days, they were like, right, you're all better now. You can go home now. I was like, oh, thank God, I'm getting sick of this hospital food. But yeah, so then they took me aside and said, well, you are a very, very lucky woman. And I was like, all right, okay, why? And they said, well, we didn't want to tell you before because any stress could have pushed you over the edge, could have caused your blood pressure to rise, which would have damaged your aorta more, which could have killed you. But your aorta was so bad, we were surprised that you're still alive when you come in here before the surgery. I was like, really? He said, if we'd have left you a week longer, you wouldn't be here now. You would have died within the next week. So I was like, oh my God, somebody up in heaven loves me, you know? Somebody up there has decided to, I don't know, wave a magic wand, throw some fairy dust at me or something and save my life. So, yeah. And to be honest, it's quite rare. I mean, I was reading something about aortic dissections the other day, and it was saying that it's usually quite rare in under 40s or something. So usually young people like me and young people like my dad, he was in his 20s when it happened to him. So it was virtually unheard of in young people then. Elderly people, it's quite, natural. In elderly people it happens quite a lot, but in young people it's quite rare. But people with connective tissue disorders is quite common. So, yeah, I'm very lucky. And hopefully with this David's procedure, a lot more people like me will be lucky as well. And they will get the treatment they need for their aortic dissection before it's too late. But yeah, this video's gone on a bit of a long rant, but I'm just going to say, check out my Chronically Suki Facebook page. There is a video on there by Osmosis. They're on YouTube as well, so look them up on YouTube as well if you want to. But there's a video on there all about aortic dissection. The Osmosis are a great channel. Their videos are all laid out very simply. They do use medical jargon, but they explain what the medical jargon means. And I love the way they do their videos. They kind of draw all these diagrams and stuff, and it's like a cartoon of diagrams and that, It's really cool. It's really animated and that. So it's really simple and easy to follow. So check that video out. Yeah, and hopefully I can do some more stuff about aortic dissection and about aortic dissection awareness. But yeah, for now I'm gonna just leave you all alone because I've got to get ready to go out. Thanks for watching this video. Do check out the Facebook page if you haven't already, and do subscribe, like and share. And yeah, thanks for watching. See you all later. Bye bye.